Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And today's guest is Tony Thelen. Hi, Tony.
Hey, good day.
Good day. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's wonderful to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited about our conversation. So, Tony, you were you were an executive at John Deere for 35 years, and when you retired, you became an executive coach, basically harnessing and using all the experience that you gathered as being a top executive at a big corporation and applying it to other executives to help them. You're also an author as well with a book that we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about systematizing leadership and what systems are being missed by leaders, which is a great topic that we don't often think about. We think about how we systematize operations, how we systematize our hiring process, etc. But there is a whole concept also behind leadership and how to systematize it.
Yeah, I love the theme of systematizing leadership, because those that are sustainable and can repeat successes over time typically have thought things through and have a process behind them, and they think with a systems mindset. And anybody can have a great experience and create kind of a good outcome, but to do it consistently, you got to have a system. So I'm really pleased to be here, and I hope this time is really valuable for your audience.
Absolutely. So let's start by telling a little bit about you in terms of your career, your interest, and what led you to decide to be an executive coach after retiring from John Deere.
Sure. I'll be brief in my background, but I started out as a chemical engineer in many years in a factory with manufacturing engineering assignments on the shop floor, and then did a little bit of shop floor supervision. Spent 8 years in those jobs, and then transitioned over to 14 years in sales and marketing roles, which was either leading a product line on a global basis. At one time, I was head of marketing for all John Deere tractors globally. And then another time, head of all technology, precision ag technology for John Deere on a global basis. If I wasn't doing the product marketing roles, I was working directly with our dealer network to develop strong dealers around the world. After that, I spent 4 years in the precision ag business unit as director of operations, leading the identification, development, and adoption of technologies to make farming better around the world. And then the last 10 years of my career was spent in transforming the finance division of John Deere to make it a more digital friendly organization, basically taking anything that was manual and making it automatic, and taking anything that was on paper and making it digital, and then all of the things that it took to make things more efficient from that perspective. I did retire in May of 2023 and have been an executive coach for my company that I started, the River Coaching and Consulting, since that time. And I became an executive coach because for the last 10 years of my career, I had access to an executive coach. And an executive coach helped me become all that I could become. It helped me reach my ultimate potential, and it helped reach my ultimate fulfillment in life in managing all the variables. It was a very wise decision on the part of the company to allow me to have access to an executive coach. And I learned a lot through that experience. And then I thought, after 35 years with Deere & Company, I can move on and do something and let somebody else go into those senior roles that I took at the company. And I've really enjoyed that journey since then.
That's great. Very interesting story, and definitely understood why you are an executive coach. So you also wrote a book.
Yes, very excited about it. The book is on the 100-year anniversary of the poem, The Desiderata, written in 1927 by Max Ehrmann. And the book is called Things We Desire. The word desiderata translates to things we desire. And I broke down the poem into 30 themes, things like love, things like acceptance, things like peace and calm, things that we really want in our lives that transcend all around the world. And I broke it down into a few observations for each of the values. And then I made 5 recommendations that you could bring more of that value into your life. And then at the end of every chapter, there's some time or some space to jot down what's really going on in your life right now as it relates to that value. So I've had great reception to it. People are writing in the chat. They're taking 1 or 2 chapters a day, making a few notes, and I've had great reception to it so far. And I really hope it helps people lead lives of passion and purpose, and it ultimately leads them to more success and fulfillment.
Absolutely. How long is the poem?
It's very short, 313 lines, very, very simple, very simple to
Can you
read.
read it now to our listeners?
I can,
Yeah, let's do it.
for sure. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all people. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too shall have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of your years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imagings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should be. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy.
It's
Max
so
Ehrmann,
beautiful.
1927.
Beautiful, beautiful poem. And I think it's also, I can see how it's open to interpretation in terms of like, not interpretation, but interpretation for one's own values, how they align to it. And it is, I can see how it's definitely applicable today as it was then, especially in a changing world. And it was written in 1927. There were many changes there, like the Industrial Revolution, towards the end of the century before that, and careers change, and all of a sudden there is a car, so you don't need a horse and carriage anymore, and people moving more to the city. So all those different changes were happening then, and what I see here in the poem is some stable ideas that you can use in order to live your life, that you can see how you can still apply it 100 years later.
Exactly. And the common thread is human experience
Mm-hmm.
and belonging, and every life is valuable. And
That's very true.
that's a wonderful message to have, no matter what time you grew up in.
Absolutely. So how did you come up with the idea of writing a book around it?
Well, this poem was extremely popular in the 1960s and early 1970s. And my oldest sister had a high school art assignment to use her newly found calligraphy skills and put it to use. She made a very elegant copy of the Desiderata, and that art assignment hung in my high school bedroom for the 4 years of high school, and it stuck with me from college to getting married to getting a job, having 3 kids, and a long career. And it's been with me the whole time. When I retired, I found that exact poem hanging in my oldest brother's garage. And it just dawned on me that wisdom was what helped me throughout my life. And it just brought it back. More people need to see this. So I started talking to people. Have you ever heard of the Desiderata? And about 80% of the people I talked to had never heard about it. And then I knew I was onto something because it was a worthy message for the time, and it certainly helped me in my life. And I want to reintroduce it to the world, and bring a little bit of positivity, motivation, and inspiration to a world that I think really needs it.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. So if people want to buy your book, where they can go to do that?
It's available on all Amazon sites globally. It's available on all book retailers online, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, you name it. It should be out there. With any luck, in early 2026 time, it'll start showing up in airports and things like that. It's been pretty widely distributed, and the reviews are coming in just wonderful.
Amazing. So we're going to include a link in the show notes for where to buy the book, probably the Amazon one, so people can see it. And probably do you have a website that they can go to and learn more about that?
For sure. And if people want to send me an email, I'll definitely personalize and send them a signed copy. I receive a lot of copies or a lot of requests for that, with a little inspirational note and a signed copy. But you can reach me at the therivercoach.org. Internet is www.therivercoach.org. And then you can find ways to contact me through that.
Great. And why the name The River Coach?
The River Coach, the business name is the River Coaching and Consulting, and that's largely based on a life experience that I have, that life is kind of like a river. You are always changing. The river is always changing. You don't know what's around the bend a lot of times. You get years of flood, you get years of drought, you get good years and bad years, and the river keeps flowing, just like life. And we keep flowing, just like life, with humans. And I just love the analogy of life being like a river, because sometimes it's rocky and sometimes it's real calm and sometimes it's rapids, and you just sometimes don't know, but you've got to live your life and do your best. And that's why I called it the river.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. Tony, in closing, we are all about systems simplified. And you do executive coaching, you work with big organizations, smaller ones. How do you relate systems to leadership?
Yeah, there's a significant system that I've used over the years that has been very helpful to enabling people to seek their ultimate potential in their professional world, but also seek their ultimate fulfillment in their private world. And that is a quartile way of looking at life. And if you could imagine 4 boxes on your computer screen, the upper left is a professional life. The upper right is a life with the community, neighbors, wherever you live. The lower left is the life you have with people you love, like your family and very, very, very people very close to you. And then the very lower right is you as a person. And if you combine all those 4 perspectives, the individual, the you with the people you love, you with the public community, and then you and your professional pursuits in life, that's the holistic picture that if you want to think about like work-life balance, I don't talk in terms of work-life balance. I talk in terms of managing those 4 quartiles and how you show up in those 4 quartiles. Most people forget themselves down here, or a lot of people will say, I'm just going to focus on being successful in the upper left, and whatever time is left, I'll spread it across these other 3. And I believe that's the wrong approach. I think you should be very intentional about allocating time to people you love, and very intentional about, are you leading the life that you want on earth, and showing up in the community, being a good neighbor, civic causes, things like that, while you seek excellence in your professional life, and put a little bit of intention around that. And I think that's the best perspective. Work-life balance is simply not helpful. It's too narrow and much too limited to be productive. When I talk to my most of my clients, I guess, in executive coaching.
I agree, because it's really being intentional, making those decisions. It's not necessarily having this image of a scale where you have to now everything has to be equal, because it can be equal and it's not equal for all of us. Some of us will put more attention on one thing and less attention on another, and it's okay so long as it's intentional and it's not driving you, but you decide to do it that way. That's why the word balance is a little bit misleading.
Yeah, and it's balances across multiple vectors is the key. You do have to balance, and you do have to show up.
Of course.
I just say show up with intention and just honor at least those 4. There could be some others, but at least those 4. Honor those with intention, and you're going to have a better shot at leading a successful career and a fulfilling life if you do that.
I agree. Tony, it's been a pleasure having you on this podcast. Great conversation, very insightful. And thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom.
Thank you for the invite, and best wishes to you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.